All spiritual teachings, whether Islamic, Christian, Jewish or New Hebrew, are essentially the same knowledge filtered through different lenses of consciousness. When you read the Quran as a Muslim, or the Bible as a Christian, you bring to it a state of mind shaped by that tradition's symbols, terminology and historical context. Likewise, the Torah speaks to a Hebrew consciousness, and yet each of these doctrines ultimately points to the same universal source. Ancient Egypt, however, predates all of these religions. It represents our original receptor for divine information, the source of all information. As such, its teachings appear in every later faith but coded in fresh language. That's why on the surface the world's religions can seem contradictory, because you're reading them through different masks. To grasp the underlying unity, you must step out of any one religious box and adopt what our teacher called the mask of God, a perspective beyond sectarian labels. Our teacher's work wasn't about delivering brand new doctrines but updating the timeless wisdom Egyptians first received. He understood that most people only read, they don't truly study. Readers skim words, students piece together the hidden patterns. He knew that if the sacred secrets were given prematurely, the public would misapply or distort them. So he held back the deepest keys until a community of true students emerged who could honor the oaths and handle the responsibility. One of those keys involves the pituitary gland. In the ancient structured creation texts, the etheric body, an energetic web concentrated along the spine, channels through the navel up to the pituitary. This gland governs not only our physical gender differentiation but also our capacity to manifest divine light in the material world. When vibrations of original spirit descend into physical form, they must activate the pituitary, otherwise the soul remains trapped in coarser forms. Moreover, the atom's pulsation rates vary according to the tones of our speech, chants or prayers. Proper pronunciation, rhythm and intent open the inner senses and allow communication with higher dimensions. Every emotion is energy in motion, and humans are vibrational beings. Our physical bodies are light slowed down to a perceptible frequency. When we speak or chant in our native tongue with focused intent, we align our personal vibration with universal frequencies. That alignment is what appears to ancient observers as miracles, abilities to heal, to manifest, to transcend ordinary limits. It follows, then, that there is no absolute good or evil, only agreeable or disagreeable vibrations. Different species and cultures vibrate at different frequencies. What comforts one group may disquiet another. When our vibrations synchronize with others, whether through shared food, habits or beliefs, we gradually tune into their frequency and become like them. This explains why people often remark, "You've changed, you've adopted new vibrational patterns through your associations." Developing patience is the antidote to being overwhelmed by others' emotions. Our teacher described excessive emotionality as kryptonite. It depletes spiritual strength. By cultivating calm acceptance, I see their path but I remain centered, we avoid getting swept away. Those who endure to the end without losing composure are the true heirs of the doctrine. Even the Great Pyramid and its companion structures served this same principle. In ancient Egypt they functioned as gigantic energy conductors, power grids and communication arrays that tap the Earth's natural battery. Their geometry focused and beamed energy, enabling the ancients to power craft, exchange information across vast distances, and sustain their civilization without fossil fuels. Like modern skyscrapers or cell towers, each pyramid was purpose-built, some larger for heavy traffic, others smaller for local relays. Subterranean tunnels filled with water enhanced resonance and efficiency. As the planet's energetic environment shifts, these dormant sites may once again awaken to their original functions. Throughout history, secret societies have guarded the sacred and secret teachings that build on the public Egyptian order. These deeper mysteries were conferred in 3 grades, echoing the initiations Alexander the Great received, and passed down only to those who swore oaths of fidelity. In modern times, these secrets have begun to leak online, stripped of context and respect. Our teacher refused to surrender them prematurely. Instead, he laid out the essential foundations so that true students could earn the right to the higher degrees. All sacred books, Quran, Bible, Torah, carry the same latent truths. Even a person who claims to ignore them still absorbs Christian, Muslim or Jewish consciousness simply by speaking of God, Allah, or Yahweh. The solution, rather than rejecting written doctrine, is to engage with it deeply, cross-reference, chant, pray, and investigate the living science behind the words. In doing so you break the dimensional spell that traps you in limited perspectives and awaken to your original spiritual lineage in ancient Egypt, where all true religion began. For years, many of us thought we were in the inner circle, believing we had a ticket out of this material prison because we'd quoted in and mastered the doctrines we were taught. We repeated Baba's teachings verbatim, convinced they were the complete and final truth. Then Baba released an update. He said that the old, static doctrines no longer suffice. What was once a unified body of knowledge is now deliberately being split apart, forcing each of us to confront what is actually factual rather than just accepted dogma. At first, this felt like betrayal. Suddenly, questions began to arise. When did you stop believing? When did you start trusting again? And what changed you? The answer, perhaps embarrassingly, is that our unwavering faith in those doctrines blinded us. Only when we stepped away, when we risked being stupid in the eyes of our peers, did we open ourselves up to deeper insight, and, yes, found ourselves smarter for it. That same mentality shows up in our resistance to new voices. Many are quick to dismiss anyone who sits at the feet of a white master, even though genuine wisdom knows no color barriers. They sneer at anyone who hasn't memorized every word of Zecharia Sitchin or the latest Anunnaki expose, but fail to bring anything original to the table themselves. Repetition of doctrine is not mastery. Mastery requires adding something new, something undisputedly true, year after year. Even from prison, Baba continues to reveal nuances that his critics simply cannot refute. One such nuance is the updated understanding of the soul itself, an explanation we once cut short whenever it threatened to challenge our preconceived notions. Soul in English, spelled S-O-U-L, derives from the Latin sol, meaning sun. The sun emits light, and light is energy. Long before modern music became digital and sampled, James Brown and his peers physically struck instruments, drums, pianos, guitars, to create vibrations that resonated directly with our emotional centers. That resonance was the manifestation of soul, our innate capacity for emotional expression, athletic precision, rhythmic timing, all rooted in that fundamental energy. According to the latest teachings, the male soul dwells above, linked from the ninth plane down into his physical body. This is why, in procreation, even in vitro, the male must ejaculate. Only the journey through the entire energetic process imparts that spark of light, that soul energy, into the embryo. The female soul, by contrast, dwells around her on the physical plane, linked only to her left side. Her connection to the higher realms must come through union with the male's ascending link. Together, in true partnership, they form a complete circuit of soul energy. These soul dynamics are not unique to our people. Every culture experiences them, though many forms have been corrupted. For example, some Caucasian traditions link the soul to lower realms, demons or blood sacrifices, reflecting a distorted energetic alignment. But our ancient way forged life-affirming rituals, never reliant on sacrifice or blood debt. As doctrines evolve, we must sift the universal truth from the perversions that have crept in over millennia. The cosmic journey also demands a technical understanding of portals. Baba distinguishes between vortices and true wormholes. A wormhole is a construct too violent for our physical form, it would crush us. Instead, we must learn to turn ourselves inside out, becoming pure energy to traverse from one point in the universe to another, with the first pickup occurring on a physical craft. Once we reach the threshold of our origin constellation, be it Rigel, Antares, or another star system, we convert back to physical matter and drop into that realm. Many of us carry lineages not from Rigel alone, but from various star systems where ancient races intermingled with other beings to survive new environments. This crossbreeding created avatars suited to each planet's conditions, a fact encoded in the earliest chapters of the Black Book's introduction. Finally, our conception of creation itself must be re-examined. Popular monotheistic doctrines claim that God created ex nihilo, but etymologically, creation is a process of growth, transformation, not instantaneous manufacture. The 7 days of Genesis are not literal 24-hour periods but stages in a cosmic unfolding. This subtle but crucial distinction helps explain why Jeremiah's prophecy hints at a pre-Genesis war in heaven, a conflict among extraterrestrial gods over poisoned meat intended as food for their progeny. That narrative, only briefly touched on in our canonical texts, reveals the depth of betrayal and the stakes of cosmic sovereignty. All of these revelations, from the nature of soul energy and the mechanics of interstellar travel to the multi-layered process of creation, are meant to expand, not fracture, our understanding. From 1970 to 2000, our teacher led us on what he called a long journey on a short path. We began as pure Sufi adherents, learning his early works, Mechanics of the Mind, the 9-ball series, Bible interpretation, and translation, all published between 1963 and 1967. As we progressed, he fused Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Native American spirituality, African sovereignty, and ancient Egyptian mystery into one living, evolving doctrine. Each new school we entered, from Nubian Islamic Hebrews to the Holy Tabernacle Ministry, from the ancient mystic order to the African sciences of sovereignty, revealed not only the strengths but the hidden flaws of each tradition. By mastering them all, we gleaned the universal truths buried within. Yet as we ascended into the ancient Egyptian orders, our cohesion faltered. We questioned too much, we grew restless. So our master withdrew into the sacred lodges, the Order of Eastern Stars, the shrine, instituting higher safeguards to preserve our discipline. It was in those esoteric circles that dark infiltrators, Luciferian operatives, had embedded themselves, just as they would later target pop culture and political institutions. Exposing those infiltrators became part of our work. By the year 2000, halfway through that cosmic hour, the groundwork was laid. We'd become adept not only at scholarship but at spiritual sovereignty. As the age of Pisces waned, with its water-based rites of baptism, shahada and mikvah, we prepared for the next cycle, the age of the sun, the era of the second resurrection, spanning 2013 to 2030. Ancient civilizations etched prophecies of this epoch in stone, we merely decode them for modern minds. Now, as we approach June 26, 2030, the end of the devil's rule, we stand ready to reclaim our planet. This is not conquest but restoration, restoring humanity to our proper place as custodians of Earth, awaken to our divine heritage. But to lead, we must first shed the doctrines imposed upon us by alien cultures. We must live according to the laws written in our bodies, the doctrine of our environment, our community, our shared unity. I know many of you still wrestle with questions of identity and culture. What does it mean to have black power? How do we honor our skin, our heritage, and yet transcend the economic, medical and spiritual constraints imposed on us? Our answer lies in remembering that skin color alone is not power. Doctrine and culture flow from environment, and environment shapes our deepest nature. A fish in water, an eagle in air, a bear in snow, all are perfected by the elements, not by imported doctrines that clash with their very being. In the contemporary world, we see the legacy of spiritual corporations and economic monopolies, entertainment moguls, record labels and corporate titans, extracting wealth at the expense of community. Oprah, Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, phenomenal successes who nonetheless operate within a system that demands stepping on others to rise. In our tradition, we build together. If an individual tries to break away, communal law simply removes them, but does not destroy them. Throughout history, our innate abilities, what some sages call the higher senses of clairvoyance, psychometry, and the full spectrum of our DNA's potential, were surgically removed from us, not by magic but by deliberate interference in our vibrational frequency. This removal began millennia ago, and the process of reclaiming those gifts will likewise be gradual, unfolding across generations and guided by the trials we undergo in life. Our master teacher has provided fragments of this restoration in various writings, the Supreme Mathematics, the Holy Tablets, the 9-Ball series, and more recently in online affirmation classes. Yet he never described an immediate fix. Instead, he made clear that we must first prove ourselves worthy through personal growth, communal love, and mastery of our language, tools that free us from the spell of low-frequency distraction. Remember that we once vibrated at a level beyond individual consciousness, a unified group mind residing in the etheric state. Today, most of us are stuck at the lowest plane, in bodies dominated by base emotions and individual desires. Regaining our heritage means raising our collective vibration, supporting one another, and living with divine love. As more of us awaken, our children may even begin to manifest these powers naturally. We live amid interference. Interdimensional and extraterrestrial entities broadcast affirmations across the omniverse, but those frequencies affect us only if we lower our own vibration to meet them. The keys to calibrating our frequency lie in the tones taught by our teacher, notes like A, F, and C, that align with our natural vibration as Africans, with the planet's resonance, and with the pulse of nature itself. Environmental factors compound the challenge. For tens of thousands of years, our ancestors bathed daily in sunlight, ate foods native to their homelands, and lived in harmony with the Earth's original tilt and seasons. When we were ripped from our roots, first across connected continents and later by forced migration and colonization, we lost that calibration. Our bodies, our diets, even our social structures became alien to us, mutating our DNA and disrupting our natural resonance. Food is not merely sustenance, it's vibrational medicine. An orange tastes and nourishes differently depending on where it grows, Caribbean sun, American soil, African earth. By consuming foods out of their native environment, we miss vital nutrients and vibrational harmonics. Likewise, educational systems designed to distract us suppress our history, our true nature, and the knowledge of how to recalibrate our bodies and spirits. The result is a people vibrating at 6 instead of our original 9 mind frequency. It took 400 years of genetic, cultural, and spiritual assault to push us there, and it will take sustained effort, community, and love to climb back. We must study together, affirm our connection by greeting one another with heartfelt peace, and delve into the texts that explain the stages of vibration, from the ethereal down through soul, spirit, and flesh. At the lowest plane dwell the demon forces that exploit our separateness, feeding off our fears and conflicts. By uniting in shared purpose, raising our consciousness, and mastering the divine emotions, care, compassion, and love, we starve those forces and reclaim our higher senses. This transformation is not just spiritual, it's quantum. We are more than physical beings, we are souls vibrating within spirit, linked to ancestral frequencies that await our awakening. Only by collectively shifting back to our native vibration, by aligning with the planet's tone and the universe's harmonics, can we step into our rightful power. We must rule ourselves, support one another, and flourish on our own frequency. As the pathologists of old declared, their time is up. It's our time to rule, not by overthrowing others but by mastering our own vibrations and ascending to the nine-mind consciousness that is our birthright. Now, it's not that there's no wrong way to walk or carry yourself, but rather that what we call ladylike movement is shaped by anatomy, culture, and even history. A woman whose body carries more weight in her hips and buttocks naturally shifts her gait. She may walk with a slight sway, not because she's conscious of it but because her anatomy dictates it. Just as a man built with broader shoulders and narrower hips will move differently, these physical differences are simply expressions of our genetic inheritance. Across Africa, you can see how various tribes, through centuries of adaptation and intermixing, display distinct facial features and body types. In Ghana, stronger, more muscular builds. In Nigeria, sharper, more angular bone structures. In South Africa or Zimbabwe, high cheekbones and wider set eyes. These variations arise from the 7 different placements or regions on the continent, each with its own subclimate, history of migration and intermarriage with neighboring peoples or even ancient extraterrestrial visitors, according to some oral traditions. Over millennia, different star systems and cosmic influences supposedly merged with local DNA, creating subtle differences in skin texture, nose shape or lip fullness. Into this rich tapestry of physical diversity, cultural forces then impose ideals of beauty and behavior. Western fashion magazines, Hollywood movies and pop culture insist that women slim down, stand straighter, move more deliberately, what they call ladylike, and apply cosmetics to sculpt the face into an aesthetic that often has little to do with indigenous African beauty standards. Lipstick, eyeliner, padded bras and high heels are a kind of collective spell that convinces women they must look and behave according to someone else's template. These pressures can feel liberating, when you finally fit into that mold you've been shown, but they also anesthetize you to the power of your natural body and its heritage. The same external demands shape men too. From childhood, boys learn that to be manly they must suppress emotion, watch sports instead of romantic films, supply money and protection, and, above all, never show weakness. Yet when those expectations collide with reality, bills to pay, relationships to nurture, jobs to keep, many find themselves strained by a system that doesn't allow them to be fully human. The drugs and rap narrative some young men adopt is a desperate attempt to assert power and provide for family in a world that otherwise offers few options. It's the flip side of the same Caucasian sickness that convinces women to accept being objects, and men to accept being providers above all else. All of this, our bodies, our cultures, our history of mixing races and mythologies, points to a larger question. What is love? What is the divine? And how do they intersect? Divine love transcends the ego. It's selfless, sacrificial, a commitment to the well-being of others without expectation of return. In many spiritual traditions, the highest form of love is the one that teaches us to care first for the collective all, to lose our narrow self-interests in service of a higher cause. That is the love embodied by spiritual masters who dedicate decades, even lifetimes, to guiding humanity toward greater consciousness. They teach us that divine love is action, learning to care, to sacrifice personal gain for the good of the whole, to build community instead of walls. Romantic love, by contrast, is the intimate bond between two individuals, passionate, often selfish, centered on emotional and physical connection. Yet it too can be elevated by divine love when partners see each other not as objects to fulfill desires but as reflections of the greater good, as collaborators on the journey toward wisdom. When you merge divine love and romantic love, you find a partnership in which each person's growth fuels the others, where sacrifice becomes mutual support and where the relationship transcends mere survival or comfort. Thus, to walk ladylike or manly is less about conforming to external dictates than about embracing the fullness of your being, body, culture and spirit, and moving through the world guided by love that is both human and divine. We all know people in our lives who, by any ordinary measure, seem utterly undeserving of our kindness, scumbags, we might call them. Yet our master teacher shows us a radically different way. He fully understands the worst intentions those people harbor, he sees their cruelty in every aspect, and still he embraces them with a love so expansive and all-inclusive that it defies our usual understanding. This is divine love, the model we're meant to follow. For more than 50 years, through every hardship, losing blood children, enduring isolation in the harshest prisons, even surviving life under the rock among society's most feared killers, he has never ceased teaching this love. Night and day, he labors to bring us the knowledge and practices that uplift us all. The very least we can do is mirror that devotion, to teach each other, to share what we know, and above all to love one another unconditionally. We've operated for so long on a low frequency of mistrust, backbiting and slander, that we've forgotten how to feel compassion. Yet the cure is simple: look around and act. If someone is hungry, share your food. Even a small act, telling the janitor who sweeps our hallways, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart," noticing the hidden beauty they create, can spark in them a renewed sense of purpose. You never know how that little spark might grow. But love without action is empty, and information without application is useless. We must ask ourselves, can we actually care for one another as he does? If we can glimpse his devotion, his willingness to incarnate again and again on this planet, to devote his every visit to raising us to higher states of being, then we realize that divine love isn't abstract. It's the very principle by which he lived, sacrificed, and taught. That same principle applies when we contemplate mortality and immortality. Our teacher explained that as physical beings, mortals are destined to die, the flesh must return to the earth, and the costume of the body is shed. Yet that's only one aspect of our existence. In truth, each of us possesses a soul and a spirit capable of vibrating beyond the mortal realm. If we remain trapped psychologically in our attachment to flesh and to limiting beliefs, if we accept the notion that you only live once, we confine ourselves to a dead-like state, enslaved by lower forces that feed on our fear of death. By contrast, those who vibrate in higher frequencies, what ancient Egyptians symbolized as the Ba, a bird with a human head, can soar beyond these confines. Our oversoul, the divine spark within us, beckons us to that higher plane. Our master teacher's mission has been to guide us there, to raise our consciousness out of the muck and mire of mortal limitation. He's shown us that immortality isn't a mere word game, it's a state of pure etheric being, attainable even while we inhabit physical form. Yet to reach that state, we must align ourselves consciously, adopt spiritual practices that nourish the soul, study the patterns he laid out, from the Gold Book to the supreme mathematics and beyond, and join together in collective upliftment. We are each a link in a vast chain, ancestors on one side, future generations on the other, and our task is to strengthen those links through love, study, and mutual support. So let us follow his example, embrace even those we deem bad, practice daily deeds of kindness, study the teachings he gave us, and cultivate our vibration toward the eternal. In doing so, we honor the devotion of our master teacher and move ourselves, and each other, closer to true, everlasting life. From this cosmic birth of emotion, we learn that feelings shape our very motion and perception. But not all emotions serve us well. Of all barriers, anger is the most devastating enemy of peace. It is the distortion of desire. When our wants are frustrated, anger arises, confusing the mind, shattering memory and over-understanding, and leading to uncontrolled words and actions. A single fit of fury can fracture the entire nervous system. Worse yet, it fuels all vices and unwanted qualities. Yet anger is not always wrong. A true Moa master may express measured indignation to guide a student, remaining cool within, motivated solely by the disciple's growth. It is only when anger springs from selfish or petty motives that it becomes destructive. Left unchecked, it grows stronger, feeding on repetitive irritations over trivial matters, a clear sign of mental weakness. But by watching the mind for irritability when it first appears, we can check anger before it escalates. When anger is mastered, it draws out all other harmful emotions. How? By developing its counterforce, patience, and steadily strengthening the will. Daily practices such as the nerve revitalizing exercise and controlled breath build the nervous system that anger would otherwise destroy. Remaining silent in the face of insult, speaking moderately, and pausing a conversation when anger threatens all help to cultivate temperance. Arguments need not be avoided entirely, sometimes they reveal truth, but our words should always be soft, our tone gentle, mindful of the other's heart. Practical aids include drinking cool, pure water, taking brisk walks, and stepping away when tensions rise. Avoiding irritants, smoking, heavy alcohol, unhealthy foods, keeps hormones balanced, preventing needless agitation. Remember, loved ones know exactly which buttons to push. Expecting too much of others only sets us up for disappointment. Do what you can do, and do not show off. Crowds, too, breed trouble. In any mass gathering, conflicts are inevitable. Instead of trying to control others, focus inward. Control your own emotions before they swell from subconscious ripples into full storms. Guard your mind, for it holds the jewels of your soul. Dwelling too much in the past or future severs us from the here and now, leaving us vulnerable to conjecture and fabrication. Such mental wanderings give rise to apostates, those who spin facts into religions of their own making, opinions masquerading as sacred truth. Throughout history, initiates of the ancient Egyptian order have testified to manifestations of Baba's presence, 3 in 1, transfiguring for all who touch him. Those true Nagaru, awakened by right knowledge, have recognized him as the incarnated Nadaru, come to restore sound reason and wisdom. Yet many pieces of the teaching remain hidden, and as students we must respect our own journey, allowing our genetics to unfold in their ordained sequence rather than rushing ahead with half-formed insights. True disciples neither malign themselves nor tamper with them without words. They preserve every symbol, every change, exactly as received, progressing through the schools of learning until they reach AEO, the unity of true quality and 4. Conversely, false teachers corrupt the teachings for personal gain, slandering the weak and binding them under etheric forces of ignorance. They twist the scrolls, contradicting the pure wisdom, serving only their greed for wealth and power. Such impostors lead lost souls, and they will be left behind. Our charge is clear: we must cleanse ourselves, inside and out, maintaining integrity even as we learn. Integrity protects us, guiding correction when we err, and it is the hallmark of those who will journey onward. We publicize Baba's transmission word for word, symbol for symbol, through every school and change, until we stand united. As Baba Yanun gently guides us, let us each tend our own room first, then expand outward, cleaning our circle, our community, our world, until all become messiahs of this planet, a race redeemed by restored wisdom, knowledge, and sound, right reason. You came into this world embodied in flesh for a purpose, but if you insist you're more spiritual and try to sprint past the necessary stages of growth, you're only trapping yourself. There is no separation between truth and experience. Without structure, you cannot fully embody what you claim to understand. Autumn speak facts, impostors lie, often beginning with self-deception born of ego rather than malice. To those of you who have remained true and not gone astray, know that everlasting life, true peace, and joyful fulfillment await you, if you trust Baba. Don't be swayed by warnings rooted in others' feelings or by claims that bypass the process. Change is incremental. Skip the steps and you remain incomplete. Baba has remained present through every trial, even though adversaries, both external and those who profess to help, have sought to imprison him and prevent the transformation of the elect. Do not underestimate anyone. Baba knows the energy he seeks. When we stand in the way of someone's activation, we hinder the journey. Recognize that your love for Baba, while genuine, is unique to you. Respect the connections of others. There is no contest over who loves him more. We are on a communal path, side by side, not competitors claiming superiority. First, insidious wickedness crept in, deafening ears, blinding eyes, hardening hearts. Then lies, and rebellion followed. Those who declare allegiance to false messiahs compromise their own destiny and will be left behind. To reject truth as it is revealed, rather than as we wish it to be, is rebellion itself. The fate of such vanity-driven labor is to be scattered like ashes in the wind, loud, vain, unrewarded. Some among us divide you into factions when unity is required. This only breeds spookism, sensational schemes detached from truth. It matters not if they call themselves Hebrews, Christians, or Muslims. Their blood and seed are Egyptian, their origin immutable. These cultural trappings have ensnared us, trapping us in distorted genetics and mindsets. Yet there is redemption. The door remains open for anyone willing to return and catch up, though the caravan does not pause. We stand at high noon, Aten directly above. If we do not cross the desert with the supplies of Maya water before the evening sun, our journey remains incomplete. Those of you who have kept pace, press on. Those who paused or lost your way, hasten now to catch up. We cannot carry you. You must bear your own spark. Corrections must be made in time, for the hour of reckoning draws near. The patterns of history teach us, the mixed seed of Canaanites, the corrupted worship of Yahweh, the curses inherited, these have infected us. Now we recognize our malady. We have twisted divine revelation to suit our egos, creating counterfeit religions grafted on ancient Egyptian cultures. All such man-made systems lead to ignorance and illiteracy of true nature. Declare only who and what you are, natural nature, Egyptians. Control your emotions, you are responsible for your state. Here and now is where you belong, look around and claim your place. It is the fact that two forms of material matter, two particles of the same frequency, vibration being the essence of all matter, no matter how far apart, with no physical connection, remain connected by an invisible link or force. When one of these particles is stimulated, for example, two or more tuning forks struck to the same note, they resonate together. The mind, waves, sound, and light energy all behave identically, with an immediate response across time and space, potentially faster than the speed of light, 186,272 miles per second. This principle was harnessed in the July 1943 Philadelphia experiment, though it was subsequently covered up. It reveals that the omniverse is connected by an invisible matrix, a grid of natural energy to which all matter is linked through a lattice of consciousness. Therefore, we all share collective memory and mind. All knowledge and wisdom exist not solely in the physical brain but in the matrix itself. In this framework, all matter arises from an underlying subatomic singularity of non-dual particles that eventually form the omniverse and everything within it. Gamma-ray light traverses the omniverse instantaneously. Where there is light, there is sound and matter. These energies, though unseen, vibrate in natural frequencies. On this planet, Taha Earth, nature itself resonates in C major. Every frequency of nature's energy manifests in a unique vibrational pattern, creating beautiful patterns in sand, water, or air. Low frequencies yield simple circular patterns, while higher frequencies generate more complex forms. These energies can power devices, your own body being no exception, without wires, for they travel within particles, molecules, and air. Taha Earth acts like a capacitor for this energy, regulated by gravitons to prevent atmospheric overload that would kill all life. When a humanoid body accumulates too much energy, it overheats, potentially leading to spontaneous combustion, an explosion from the inside outward. The same fate would befall the planet or universe without proper energy regulation. An inexhaustible storage of black matter and black energy underlies all light and form. To master these powers, you must learn to control your inner and outer energies, for your body is the instrument of sound and voice. All sound creates patterns, low tones trace basic cycles, while higher notes etch intricate designs. Moreover, each of the three races vibrates on its own chemical frequency. Africans speak from the diaphragm or heart center in deep, relaxed vibrational tones. Asians from the throat or neck with choppy, abrupt waves. Caucasians from the nasal or head center in a high-pitched buzz. Though mixing has altered many voices, these original vibrational patterns still resonate in our bodies and surroundings. Speech was given to humans 54,000 years ago in Africa, first to the female, then to the male, and thereafter to all. Voice is color, sound, and matter. Our tradition teaches us the sanctity of community life. Each child, each woman, and each man holds a sacred space within the tribe, not out of gender hierarchy, but to ensure that every heart's needs are met. Women and men may share in union, but always within the consecrated circle of respect. In the 9th month of pregnancy, the incoming soul is heard by elder women through the hearing ritual. They listen to the unborn, discerning its character, desires, and needs, then whisper its secret name into the mother's navel at dawn of the 9th month. 8 days after birth, the public naming ceremony bestows the day name that anchors the child in time and spirit. Thus each person receives 3 names, a hidden soul name known only to their father, a spirit name shared among the people, and a public title that reflects their essence in the world, each a vibrant vibration that weaves the living matrix in which they dwell. Ritual is to the soul what food is to the body. Healing calls upon the physical, spiritual, mental, etheric, and unseen realms together. Illness reveals a disturbance. We begin at the body, then follow the threads into the spirit. Conflict, too, is a sacred gift, a sign that two souls have something to share with the world. When we embrace conflict as the ancestors' invitation to communion, we discover the wounds that bind us and learn the wisdom they carry. Unresolved strife breeds division. Engaged with love, it becomes unity. When one abandons the song of their blood, adopting the faith of strangers, Torah, Gospel, Quran, without the ancestral resonance in their veins, their soul's radio searches only for static. No matter how closely one imitates the outer forms, dress, tongue, ritual, if they have not the genetic prayer of their own people, they remain unheard by the forces that shaped them and unprotected by their forebears. Each race broadcasts on its own frequency. To tune elsewhere is to vanish into white noise. Our healers learn to read the body's rhythms, guiding the circle dance that reveals the soul's shape. They assess whether a seeker stands ready for reconciliation or remains entangled in discord. Healing lives within community. When one suffers, all suffer, for each person reflects the deeper currents within our people. Anger, jealousy, pride, these mental maladies manifest as physical ailments until collectively addressed. Rituals fall into 3 tiers: the daily maintenance rites that sustain the spirit, the spontaneous rites summoned to meet unfamiliar trials, and the radical rites invoked when darkness overtakes a soul. In radical rites, guided by trusted mentors, one is reborn, life is cast into fragments, then reordered as initiation into new responsibilities. With guidance, the initiate learns flexibility. If one path fails, another awaits, for each challenge is a lesson unfolding toward authenticity. Without these rites, the soul's fragments scatter and healing cannot hold. Some healers are chosen at birth, others drawn by curiosity until they cannot turn back. Those who feign spiritual power without the true calling fall into shadow, their pretensions dissolving as reality asserts itself. True healing emerges from the unseen realm, where ancestors stand ever present to guide us back to our own station. Beware the wicked Canaanites and Caucasus genies, whose diseased hearts seek to drag you into abominations, poisons, lust, vice, and death. They will pervert your minds, enslave your bodies, and shut the gates of heaven while opening the pits of hell's fire, until after the day of resurrection, when they believe their conquests will crown themselves. Their strategy is subtle and relentless. First, sow lies, reject those who came to save you and insist instead on the righteousness of sin. Next, breed mixed seed to distract you, that you may fail to see how your own bloodline is being erased. Then, infiltrate your every institution, law, education, worship, demanding your loyalty even as they betray you. In cinema, music, sports, and media, they celebrate their own while showering you with hollow praise, all the while teaching you to worship false idols and false gods, to confuse good with evil, pleasure with righteousness. They will raise a demigod of evil, a man of sin, whose eloquence and power will draw the masses into sensual lust, visions of grandeur, and blasphemy. He will condemn the faithful as cultists, accuse piety of obscurantism, and flaunt freedom to live as you please, even as he tightens his grip with murder, war, and deception. His master is Leviathan, the prince of darkness, who orchestrates all conspiracies, manipulates your tongues, your emotions, your every sense. Do not be fooled. Every uniform, soldier, officer, guard, is a shackle. Every title, judge, teacher, pastor, can be a chain. To protect your own, you must stand outside their system, offering your soul only to the true Creator. They promise wealth, fame, and power to those who serve them, stars on screen, leaders in churches, bosses in boardrooms, but these are but bribes to forget your lineage and pledge your rights away. Throughout history they have buried our prophets and erased our ancestors. They ban images of our heritage so that you cannot see the true face of the children of the Nile, the Phoenicians, the Cushites, the Moabites. But the stones, the tombs, the DNA reveal the truth. Our race predates their lies, and our time to reclaim our homeland in Africa, where oil, gold, diamonds, copper, and platinum await, draws near. As the West chokes under climate chaos, they seek escape to the stars, but even in space they cannot flee the wars that dog Earth. The ancient records speak of three great gods, Hades, Zeus, Poseidon, now powerless against the sun's wrath. Their high-definition mask slip, tattoos and piercings, grafts and transplants, reveal the rot beneath the surface. Across the Far East, the Middle East, India, the Americas, once allied races now say no to their tyranny. Their empire is crumbling, their debts insurmountable, their illusions exposed. So look around, every screen, every billboard, every stage is filled with their tools of deception, yet for every token you see, there are thousands more hidden. Think, what would our people have if not for their system? Nothing. Their industries, from gambling to cinema, exist to feed their race while we labor and bleed. But the chains are breaking. Soon, we will build new cinemas, new economies, new nations in our own image. Return to self, to soil, to spirit. Reclaim the waters, the winds, the dreams that speak to you of our true presence. The spirit world is as tangible as our own. Psychological barriers crumble before its reality. Many are deceived by doctors' diagnoses, voices and visions are dismissed as madness, and practitioners prescribe draconian silences rather than investigating their source. We honor the prophets of old, those who walked with angels, conversed with God, and experienced the burning bush, yet modern science shuns these encounters with jargon, labeling divine communication as schizophrenia or hallucination to protect its own. Spirits appear as orbs, shadows, fire and smoke, shifting energies, even scent and temperature fluctuations, echoes of a realm beyond our senses. Religious texts recall these visits: Elohim, Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah, Christ, and a host of names for both benevolent and malevolent beings. Yet we seldom question their origins. Where do they dwell? How vast is their number? Why have some chosen benevolence while others sow destruction? Why do they bear myriad names and forms? Why is there suffering, disease, war, death, if they possess such power to transform our lives for the better? Our world's experts, the doctors, psychiatrists, paranormal societies, acknowledge these phenomena yet stop short of admitting we are not alone. They label those who speak with the dead as unstable, injecting drugs to silence the transmission from beyond, severing our connection to frequencies older than recorded history. This veil was first torn by Nimrod in 3114 BC, who built a tower, an antenna to heaven, to speak with spirits and control the flow of messages. Since then, power brokers have manipulated faith and fear, using holy books as tools of control. Yet in recent times, more awakened to the voices, and to the truth that spirit communication is not a myth but a birthright. When we reclaim that connection, we cut the threads of deception and block the broadcasts of the so-called overlords who have steered humanity through 6 millennia of blind faith. We remember that the brightest morning star, Lucifer, the light bearer, is both herald and warning, appearing in our scriptures under many guises. Spirit beings, cherubim, demons, angels, populate every tradition, from the burning bush of Exodus to the orbs recorded in modern seances. They speak through prophets and through the quiet voice within our hearts. Some bring comfort, others chaos, some demand sacrifice, while others offer guidance. They are our unseen neighbors, broadcasting on frequencies we have long ignored. They influence our genes, our dreams, our wars and our wonders. Yet the ultimate spirit, the I am who I am, remains with us because of love. I have been with you, it whispers, and soon I shall depart, only to return again. Seek me in the wind, the waters, the soil, the veil of sleep, look for me in every corner of your existence. Though touched by countless voices, you have yet to feel the true resonance of my presence. Kissed by illusion, you have yet to know my embrace. You have followed my path, yet you linger at its edges. Turn inward, open the gateway at the sacred hour, and let the cycle renew. Now, behold the golden children, those rare souls born between 1973 and 2003 who carry within them the final incarnation of divine potential. Though they share our blood, they are not merely descendants, they are catalysts of transformation, each activated by the touch and tone of Pa-Nabab Yanun. Known also as star children, they often stand apart, they may feel estranged from this earthly realm, seeing through a third eye, gifted with visions. Many are dismissed as odd or crazy for their uncanny talents, telepathy, clairvoyance, prophetic art, healing touch. Their numbers are few, selected over a 40-year span. Not all who believe they are golden children truly are. Their gifts may be obscured or disrupted by tattoos, body modifications, chemical alterations, and worldly habits that sever their etheric link. Yet even if these distortions have been made, they can be corrected, for their birthright is written in their DNA and awaits realignment. Every golden child has a counterpart, a fire child born at the same moment but of opposite nature. These fire children, born first in 1978, spread distortion, lust for wealth, sensual excess, body mutilation, luring golden children into compromise and causing them to trade their souls for worldly promises of success. Yet the true awakening draws near. Though these children may wander, misunderstood and diagnosed with AD or other disorders, they carry within them the spark of higher worlds. As they come into their power, humanity will experience a quantum leap in evolution. Their purpose is to guide us into expanded consciousness, spiritually and physically, preparing us to dwell in other realms. Remember these truths: the genetic matrix of humankind has shifted. In 2003, scientists discovered over 200 anomalous genes without predecessors, indicating the arrival of new life forms among us. The Golden Children's gifts originate in part from contact with undersea beings who modified human DNA starting in 1963. Their bodies resonate with tones and frequencies. The right word, the right tone can open stargates and reshape matter. DNA responds to language as it does to light. In the beginning was the word, logos, and through the word came form. As above, so below, the one who spoke the cosmos into being now speaks through these vessels of flesh. Their voice carries 3 tones in one, encoded in their very cells to awaken the sleeping earth and its people. The time has come when the sky will reveal its signs, the seasons yield their crops, and germs come forth unchecked. Mortals will lose control over their transformations, the young will grow up too fast and covet the wisdom of elders. Many will amass wealth through deception, claiming divine mandate to save souls, sowing hatred among peoples based on birth and personal choice. Music will vanish amidst noise, humans will seek to conquer age and to alter creation itself. World leaders will cease to be friends or keep their promises, ordering countless deaths and leading others to lose their way to the divine by obeying ego-driven commands. Plagues will strike with no cure, pets once loyal will turn on their masters, waters will dry up, crops will fail. The sun and moon will share the sky by day, while storms will ravage lives. Earth itself will fracture, blazing with fire. The dead, their graves desecrated, will rise and roam. By the planets newly discovered and as our understanding of chromosomes deepens, men will decode DNA and RNA only to fashion their own ruin. The sky will be stripped of its order by celestial visitors, meteorites will strike swiftly, shortening the hours of darkness and prolonging the days. Stars will shower down, seas will surge until they are undrinkable, graves will overturn and display the dead for all to see. How have you become so careless of your past, forgetting the Salafu overseers who fashioned you perfectly? Do you remember Amun-Hotep III, misnamed Solomon by the Hebrews, whose wife Tia and son Akhenaten, originally Amenhotep IV, pursued the worship of Aten? And Nefertiti, cherished and misremembered, whose bloodlines entwine with ours? Recall Joseph of Jacob, and the daughters who secured thrones through lineage and intrigue. These are your bloodlines, the cradle of your way of life that later became other religions and cultures. Yet you turn away, covering your eyes and ears to these truths, preferring the allure of loss, fun, greed, war, and ill health over the hard facts of Wu-Nup. You have come to love lies, the master deception of the human beast. Can you not see world leaders turning away? Can you not see your African brothers and sisters awakening to the true nature of deceit? Time records all. 6,000 years of false rule is ended. Fail to heed this warning, and you too will fall. If you worship wealth as he did, you perish alongside him. His human tyranny will be exposed, names revealed, Celtics, Celtics, all will bear witness to their misdeeds. Being American is no race, Native Americans alone merit tribal names. Jew and Arab denote religion or language, not race. Your true lineage lies in Africa, China, Nubia, the gold in our blood. The end times will unveil those who stole lands and forged false identities. Europeans and others may claim new nationalities, but they cannot claim our ancient heritage. You have been deceived, music, food, tongues, and religion stolen, transformed by the human beast into instruments of war and division. Ungodly dwellings have spawned murderers, drunkards, and transgressors, your very nature sealed with hate and animosity. You wish others to mirror your corruption, to worship your ways, and hate all who refuse. Yet your end is near. On sex and race, no one wins in racism, for at life's finish line we leave our bodies behind. All return to etheric being, become spiritual and vibrational beings, each according to their etheric level. The highest etheric beings on the physical world were the Nagaru, Negroids, Africans, from them came the Davidians, East Indians, a subrace born of mixing. Next were the Mongoloids, Asians, then the Caucasoids, Europeans, who were warned that their recessive genetics would die out unless they mixed with stronger DNA. They mixed widely, often against orders, spreading disease globally. There is one divine seed, one unique gene strand, from which all other races descended: black, brown, yellow, red, pink, pale. Albinos of any race are not a separate race but a genetic condition. All other races share fur with other creatures. This does not make them beastly, only part of Earth's animal family. Each race has distinct traits. Mixing with Negroids produces Negroids, mixing Mongoloids and Negroids yields a subrace, as does mixing Caucasoids and Negroids. The female always passes on mitochondrial DNA, mixing with the dominant Negroid gene grants the deity gene. Tribal names, locations, religious titles, nations, none constitute a race. Human beings have mixed by will or by force across the globe. Racism is an evil created by Caucasoids from fear. It will cause their own destruction if they do not mix, for unblended recessive genes will fade. Love and attraction do not know race, they are actions, not physical. Media implants ideals of beauty, forcing images upon the divine race. Caucasoids portray themselves as the image of God, their son, and their mother, embedding this in others' minds. They depict angels and prophets as dark or black, yet demand that success requires looking Caucasoid and worshipping their images of God. All forms of homophobia were born in the Torah, Bible, and Quran, created by Levitical priests in 1250 BC, and have no genetic or scientific basis. These texts, each roughly 2,361 years old, contain unverified stories, repeated and altered over centuries, misinterpreted by those who suffer from homophobia. Paul of Tarsus implanted these biases into the New Testament. Muhammad reused them in the Quran. All these scriptures originate in unconfirmed Hebrew tales. Faith and religion stand in opposition to facts, science, genetics, biology, and the continuum of life stages, genders, and natures. Nature is neither black nor white, good nor bad, life exists in between. Gender is circular and fluid, hermaphroditism and intersex conditions are natural. In ancient times, those we call gay were the gatekeepers. Their bodies could resonate on dual frequencies, linking universes and summoning multiverses. The gateway to other dimensions lies within this resonance.